Alrighty then. My name is Bulos Abdallah. I am an academic advisor here at the School of Engineering Advising Hub, and I am joined by my colleagues here who are also advisors at the Hub. Um, so with us today is Karen Lewis. We've got Ken, Jen Yeager, and Kim Loring. Kelly Sanacero is currently out, but she should be back in the next week or two. And then, yeah, of course, my name is Bulos Abdallah. We each advise separate majors. If you did not get that email, let us know in the chat, identifying who is going to be your advisor for your first year at college. So forgive me if you've already seen this page or have seen this slide already, but we just want to hit it home a little bit more. Our website is going to be the hub of all resources for the entire year. Some things that you're going to find are our schedules for drop-ins. You can also book meetings with us, going straight through our website. If you haven't registered yet, that's okay. We're going to get into how you can do that and what sort of options you have moving forward. But some of the things that you're going to need are found on this page right here. Some things like the course registration checklists. There's some information about transfer credit policies if you're looking to transfer in any AP or IB credits or any dual enrollment credits. There's also some FAQs specifically about registration assistance or just general FAQs. Typical questions that always do tend to come up during our appointments. You can view all of those right on our website. And of course, we have some important SOE Hub and communication archives. So anything that we've sent, anything that we've communicated with you in the past, you can always dig it up in here if you can't find it in your email or in WebEx. So yeah, so make sure you bookmark this page on your browser, and you can always refer to this before you reaching out to us. And again, we're always going to be happy to take you. But if it's going to be a quick, 2-second thing that you can just look up, you can find the answer right there. If you do need any additional support, you can always get in touch with us. Some important dates to keep in mind and keep in your calendar. The big one, obviously, is Monday, August 11th. That's when the registration reopens. Let me know if I'm wrong, you guys in the hub. I believe it's going to open at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Yep, perfect. Okay. So 8 a.m. Eastern time is when the registration window will open on Monday, August 11th. We are going to be hosting drop-ins all day that day from 9 to 12 and then again from 1 to 4. But then there's going to be no more drop-ins for the rest of the week. But you can always meet with us. You can schedule appointments with us through the website. In the email that we sent out yesterday should be links where you can schedule appointments directly with us. Get in touch with us and get connected with us. If you have any questions about your schedule, but you already have 16 or 18 credits, it might not make sense to meet with us in that week. We're trying to reserve that time for specifically the students that haven't registered at all or are registered for, 5, 10, 13 credits. But get in touch with us anyway, and we can make something work if you absolutely need to meet with us. And again, just to hit it home, you could start scheduling appointments with us even if it's before or after that Monday, August 11th date. We are going to be readily available all week this week, next week, and the weeks leading up to the semester and beyond. So this is where I'm gonna hand it off to Karen. Karen, it's all you.
Thanks, Bulos. Okay, so these are the resources that are on our website that we encourage every student to access while they're building schedules. So for students that haven't made a schedule yet, be sure to visit our website, as Bulos mentioned, to get that major specific checklist. We don't want you Googling information. There have been curricular changes that have happened for a lot of our majors. So even asking an upperclassman about the courses that they took, their courses might be different from what you're currently required to take. So the most current information is on our website. And if you do have questions about that, you can always put it in the chat if you're having a hard time finding it. The checklist is what you start with, so that's what's appearing on the left of your screen. The Excel sheet is actually going to be what we use throughout the year to kind of create a 4-year plan. You're going to hear that terminology often. So the Excel sheet is going to be something that we're really going to be utilizing later. We're prioritizing the checklist at this time. So for those of you that have gone through the initial registration process, we tell every student to utilize Quacks, which is our schedule building software. It's Quacks. We have the website actually posted on our website, so you can utilize it there. You can also Google Quacks, believe it or not. But make sure up on the right-hand side of the screen, you prioritize that it is fall 2025. Sometimes when you Google information, it might bring up a previous semester and then the information that's going to be in there is incorrect. Now, the Quack software is kind of interesting, thanks Jen, because it allows you to create schedules that don't conflict. So rather than sketching it out on paper, this software does it for you automatically. And Kim is actually going to show us Quacks a little bit later in this presentation. Now, again, this might be a refresher for students that have already started the registration process, but I would advise every student to go in to SIS, our student information system, under the student menu and check your registration status. Now, the reason why I say that is because it should say August 11th at 8 a.m. If it does not say that, then you have to let us know because we need to ensure that you would actually be able to go in and either register or modify your existing schedule at that particular time. So if it says something other than August 11th, you would want to follow up with us. We have plenty of time to resolve that issue for you, but definitely prioritize checking. The other thing that you're going to want to do is also check for any holds. If you have already registered for classes and are looking to modify your existing schedule, you already cleared the financial responsibility agreement. If you are a first-time registering, you're going to want to sign the financial responsibility agreement, which is actually right on SIS in the student menu under the tab financial responsibility agreement. So you're going to have to do that every semester anyway, but that is something that will potentially put a hold on your account, preventing you from registering. And you can actually go do that right now. So if you haven't registered for classes yet, make sure you clear that before we actually get to August 11th. Now, our screens, unfortunately, we only have advisor screens rather than student screens, so we can't show you this in live action, but we did have some screenshots just to give you a visual of what everything should look like. So on August 11th at 8 a.m., you're going to utilize the SIS menu, Student Information System again, go to Student Menu, and you're going to see the Register Add drop bullet on your screen. That is what you're going to click to register or modify your current registration. Select fall of 2025. And then the CRNs, which are your course registration numbers, can go right into the add drop menu. So it's kind of hard to see from what we're looking at, but the arrow that is on that screen is pointing at little boxes that will appear on the screen when your registration window is open. So those are going to be where you enter your course registration numbers from your Quacks model. So like I said, Kim is going to go through that a little later and she'll point out where the course registration numbers are on the Quacks menu, and you just copy and paste them right in. Now, if you have an existing schedule, you can add courses in the same capacity by just adding a CRN or two or just one, it doesn't really matter, to whatever you're adding to. Now, there is an option to actually remove courses, which we'll discuss later, but this is pretty much how you're going to register for classes. Once you have successfully added all the course registration numbers, CRNs, in those boxes, you have to finish the process by hitting submit changes. I've had students forget that step and that is devastating. So please make sure you submit changes. Now, if you get an error message, which at this point in time with registration is going to be pretty common because a lot of our sections are currently full, that is when you're going to have to seek out an alternative schedule. But if you do get a successful registration message, which usually begins with registered via web, that means that you have successfully registered for whatever you're trying to add into your curriculum. And then you can finish up by viewing your weekly scheduled daytime grid in SIS student menu to verify that it looks the way that you expected it to. Now, here is where some of you might be interested in actually, say you registered for a course that you don't want to take, or your credits came in and you realized you got credit for that class, so you no longer need it. It's a little hard to see in this screen because it's a little small. However, when you pull up SIS student menu, register, add, drop, all of the courses that you have currently registered for will appear on that screen above the boxes. Now, there's a little drop down menu where it says action, and you could choose drop via web if you choose to drop that course. Now, we always tell students, make sure you truly want to drop that course, because the minute this is done, somebody else can register for that class. It goes back into the pool, and there's a good chance that if you mistakenly drop a class and try to get back into it later, that seat might not be available at that point. So what you do is you drop via web, and then again, that submit changes button is really important to complete the process. So we always tell students, again, tread lightly with this, make sure that you actually want to drop the course. Now, if you're adding courses at the same time, that is something you can also do. So you could drop a course and then add CRNs to the boxes below to have it all happen simultaneously. So that is something that you can also do, but submit changes. Now, some of you might encounter something called a wait list. Electronic wait lists are scattered throughout our curriculum. For example, engineering graphics and CAD might have a wait list. There are certain ENGR prefixed courses that have electronic wait lists. Also, some humanities HOS classes might have wait lists. In the event that there's a wait list, we discourage you from reaching out to the professor for an override because they use the wait list. You would have to sign up to be considered for the class. Now, that same action space where you can drop a course, you will get a message that it's waitlist. If you go down to the drop down box and highlight the waitlist option and click submit changes, it should give you a message that you have successfully registered for the waitlist. Now, what happens after that is you're going to have to monitor your RPI email, because if a seat becomes available, you will get an email that says a seat has become available and they invite you to register for the class. You only have 48 hours to act on that before the seat becomes no longer available to you and moves to the next person on the wait list. So if you do commit to being on a wait list, you definitely want to prioritize your RPI email to make sure that you don't miss your opportunity to register for the class. Now, this is just a reminder. We do want to encourage you. You've had some time since the first registration. If you are still pending credits, if you have not transferred your AP, IB, or dual enrollment, we really encourage you to do so as soon as possible. If you have transmitted your scores to RPI and have not seen them on your transcript, we also encourage you to put a ticket in with the registrar's office to inquire about where those transfer credits might be. So at this time, you want to view your transcript. I'm sorry, this makes me laugh every time. View your transcript to verify that the credits have actually been received, because if they are, they will appear at the top of your transcript. If they are not, you're not going to use that finger again, but you're going to use that red arrow to go to the registrar's homepage to submit a ticket. And basically what you would do in that ticket is just say, I had College Board send my credits for my APs and it said it was sent on such and such a date. I'm just inquiring where they are. And the registrar will check on that, process it if it's pending, and then also circle back with you to give you a status update. So these are things that you can do prior to registration just to make sure everything is exactly where it needs to be. We will be overriding students that have pending credits again, but those who have been through the override process know that it is kind of a tedious process. So having your credits actually here, so you don't need an override, would make your registration process that much easier. So that is really what we want to, emphasize at this point. So I'm going to turn it over to Kim. We're going to talk about actually what Quacks looks like and how to register or modify your existing schedule. But just another highlight, definitely check out our website. We also have a YouTube channel and we're on Instagram and everything. So keep connected with us. We keep you updated even after this period. Now, registration will open on August 11th, as we've emphasized in this presentation, and it will remain open right until the second week of classes. So there is a lot of modifications that happen. And the other thing that we want to kind of just throw advice out there, say you really wanted a Haas class and for whatever reason the Haas class is full. Now that registration is open again, things start moving. So you might find, if you monitor everything, you might find a seat that becomes available in a certain course just because everybody's kind of shuffling their schedules around. So be diligent about that if there's something that you're looking for that is currently full, because there is a chance that something might open up. Okay, I'm going to throw it over to Kim.
Thanks, Karen. So I'm going to go back to Quacks in a second and just show you how any one of us advisors, if you decide to meet with us, would kind of modify any schedules. So say you started off with maybe you're at 12 credit hours, so you're at full time, but you want to get to that 16 to 18, which is what we recommend. Or even if I can go into an example, if someone on here is not registered at all, just showing how I would do that as well. Just want to be cognizant of time, obviously. But I'll share my screen. If anyone has any examples, you're welcome to put it in the chat. Just include the course name and the section number, and then I can build it on the schedule and then show real life of like what I would do. So if anyone wants to do that, I'll start working on this schedule and then I can come back. All right. So I already started one just based off of what I've seen in the past. So if you look at the schedule, right now I have Principles of Chemistry, which is a requirement for some majors, or it could be used towards a science elective for others, an inquiry class, and then Calc 1. So in this example, I'm going to use, hey, Physics 1 filled up, and so did it the mentoring. So what am I going to do? I'm at 12 credit hours. I want to be at the minimum of the 16 to 18. What else would you recommend I add? So going off of, I could go off of the one of the main majors, so mechanical, aerospace, or nuclear. So let's try and see if main 1010, which is the specified Introduction to Engineering Analysis course recommended for those majors. So it's just more specialized. So now when I'm looking at this major, it looks like all the sections are full minus section 1. And of course, the only section that fits is section 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this just to bring it over to the Quack schedule. It's going to say there's no possible schedules because it's interfering. So let me see if I can move around other schedules. And I like to bring classes in so I can have them all on one sheet instead of going between two screens. I get a headache. So let me see this. So it looks like everything is interfering. So let me see if I remove the calc. So that wouldn't work. I think I was on that one. And then, so let's see if I can scroll up. So what if I remove the inquiry? Will a section open up there? All the full sections. So it looks like, let's see if I bring in section 6, which is a little different for the chemistry. It looks like it's open, so maybe we can switch that. I want to see if I can fit in still section. So what is Mondays at 2 and Thursdays at 2, and then we got 2 on Wednesday. So let's see. So it looks like the Calculus 1 section is the one that's really interfering with that main 1010. So really, this is what we're doing with you. We don't have a magic spell we can put just to automatically put you in classes even if they're full, unfortunately. So it's a lot of just shifting things around the best way we can. Again, the open sections right now for the calc are interfering, so it doesn't look like main 1010 would fit with that current schedule. So we, the main majors highly recommend that course, but you could go into the Introduction to Engineering Analysis and do that one instead. So let's see if we can get one of these open sections instead. I'm going to go back to the schedule again and see if we can shift around. It looks like if I shift around to section 9 of Calc instead of the other one, section 11 I was just on, will that work? Okay. So now the schedule, it looks like we're at 16 credit hours. So we have the inquiry class, we have Calc 1, we have IEA, and then we have chemistry. So that's just one example of how we would go about modifying schedules. Sometimes you do have to change sections of classes you're already registered in to fit in other sections. Now, if you don't want to do that, that's where we look at potentially adding free electives. Depending on your major checklist, it might have other recommendations that you can go into, like modeling and analysis of, why am I forgetting the word MAO? But there's other options depending on your major that you might be able to fit in instead. So this is just one example. Again, if you're having trouble, you're troubleshooting, you're like, I cannot figure this out. That's why you have advisors. Book a meeting with us, or the day registration opens up, you can go to drop-ins. It might be better if you can schedule that time so that way you're ready to go when registration reopens. But obviously, it's just dependent on your schedule. Does anyone have any other questions? I don't know if there's any questions in the chat box.
Yeah, chat is quiet, so
Okay.
maybe everybody's just fixing minor things.
Kim, did you mention not dropping classes before having a plan? So like if you wanted to swap a section in calculus, like don't just drop your original class and then go to add the other class that you want. Make sure you do it simultaneously. That way you don't lose your spot just in case if there was some quick movement. Um, in that
Yeah,
because that's happened before.
absolutely. I know Karen mentioned it on like the screen with the presentation, but yeah, anyone that that's unsure um, of maybe the amount of seats, I always tell students go back to the class search in SIS and you can see the real numbers because there is a 15-minute delay in Quacks. So say the morning of you go to register, it's 8:30 in the morning, so everyone's able to register. If there's only one spot left that you're seeing in Quacks, or like two, or like I always say like single digits, um, go back and insist before you even think about dropping a course and double check that there's seats available because again there's a 15-minute delay, so someone might have just picked up like the last seat that you were thinking you were going to get. And so like Bulu said, if you drop that other course, it's a free-for-all. Someone else might come and get it and then you're out another class. So if you're ever confused about it, you're unsure, just let us know. We're here to help you guys.
Since there aren't any questions, I was thinking when Karen was talking about the wait list, I just wanted to point out that not every single class offers a wait list. So I wanted everyone to be aware of that as well.
Yeah, and then in that case, sometimes you do have to reach out to professors. If you're unsure, again, let us know and we'll tell you exactly the procedure for it. Now, some have waitlists like engineering processes because it's in a workshop. So due to safety standards, no overrides can be granted because there's only a certain amount of people that can be in that space safely. So you're going to come into situations like that. Other times there might be some wiggle room. But remember, this is your first semester, so wouldn't stress yourself too much about like if you had to push off CAD or processes, where you have plenty of time to finish all those. Someone did bring up the question, will the recording of this be available? Yes, it will. We'll email it out after we end it today. I don't know if anyone else has any more questions.
Is there anyone who has specific obstacles that they're facing that they want to share? Because maybe we could troubleshoot them for you. And the other thing too, for students that have a lot of credits, you know, like coming in with like 12 to 20 credits, especially STEM related credits, sometimes skirting underneath the 16 credits is acceptable just because you're so ahead anyway that, there might not be options available at this time. And starting out a little lighter when you are credit heavy is perfectly fine, but we do suggest that you touch base with your advisor prior to making that decision, just to make sure that you're not missing any critical information or courses for your major. So that's the most important thing. I do see a question. Do you want to read that, Jen, and I'll answer it, or?
Sure. Yep. The question is, will we be able to schedule a meeting with our advisors before registration opens again?
Well, the answer to that is yes. We all sent you, emails went out yesterday about who your particular advisor is. And we also have meeting links in those emails that if you have questions, we kind of encourage students to prioritize. We're not talking about 4-year plans at these meetings this week. These are more about, hey, I need this course. Last time I tried to register, everything was, there were no options for me. What do I do? Those are the relevant meetings that we're trying to troubleshoot this week. But every single student should have received an email with an appointment link with embedded in that email that you could schedule a meeting to meet with your advisor. Now, if there's extenuating circumstances where you're not able to meet with the times available, you can always email us directly, because we might be able to accommodate you during a certain time that is suitable for you as well. We want to make sure that you have this and that you feel comfortable to start your semester. So we're prioritizing those meetings this week to make sure everybody has a full schedule before classes begin on the 28th.
Okay, so here's a question. When dropping and adding courses simultaneously in SIS, will the drop class request be rolled back if the add class request cannot be completed due to a full class?
I'll take this one. No. So this is why we want to make sure that you know that you're making the right decision. I think one thing that is worth looking at, and I will show you quick, I'm going to pull it up before I share my screen, but in SIS, there is a way to actually look at real time to see if there are seats available. So I'm going to share my screen. Just so you're aware, if you guys are all looking at this is fine. The big thing is my screen looks a little different than a student screen, but you're going to look in SIS for the same function as the class search option. So here is where you can verify before you drop this class and replace it with something else that there's seats available in real time. Now we select fall of 25. And I'm just going to go to math, for example. So we go to math and hit section search. So if we're looking for Calc 1, the capacity is 30. The registration actual number is 30. So the remaining is 0. So you're actually going to see here, there are some pretty tight schedules here. And there's some that have random seats available. This is where I recommend you looking to see if you actually have seats. So for example, if you were dropping section 10 to register for section 11, that's fine because there's 7 seats in section 11. And what'll happen when you refresh the screen is this will turn into 6 and there'll be a seat in section 10 since you just dropped it. So that's where things happen that quickly. Keep refreshing the screen, but you can always look in class search to see what actually has seats available. And like I said, this is going to be a challenge at this time because at this point, 95% of our students have registered. So we're kind of hitting the maxes at this point, but there are seats available. And if you're prioritizing a section that has 20 seats, then the likelihood that you're going to get one of those seats is pretty high. But if you are prioritizing a section that has 2 or 1 seat available, you're going to really want to be attentive. Now, the other thing too, that's kind of a bigger thing here is that this is Eastern Standard Time, so anybody who is not registering, you have to adjust your timing to accommodate an 8 a.m. start time Eastern Standard Time. So The other thing that we also want to emphasize when you're registering for your classes is register as soon as the window opens. That will give you the best chances of getting what you want.
Okay, let's see. I changed my major in the application portal a while ago from CS to CSE. Woohoo! But I have not seen the update occur in CIS. Check registration status. How should I proceed if I need to be registered under this major to take some classes, intro to ECSE by the August 1st deadline? August 1st isn't the deadline. I'll answer that part of it. So actually I could take this whole thing because basically we're waiting for that to go through so you can get into your ECSE 1010. Knowing that August 11th is when registration reopens, it's going to stay open, like someone had said earlier, all the way until September the 12th from now on. So you have time when we talk about the sense of urgency to register for your classes, do it when everything opens up on Monday because things are going to go quickly. In terms of computer and systems engineering, you really, if you can get into intro to ECSE, that would be advisable. So just kind of hang tight for a second. It takes a couple days for the registrar's office to process it through. So you should be fine. Ooh, Karen.
I actually have talked to the student on the side about this.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's been a long time. So we submitted a ticket to the registrar
Oh, good.
on your behalf, and hopefully this will be prioritized. Now, in the event that it's not, for this particular situation, we would be able to override you into ECSE 1010. So that is really the bigger thing that you would want to get in touch with us just to let us know that the CRN of the section that you want has seats available and that you're ready to go. We'll put it on the override sheet if you physically can't register for it on August 11th. I am really hoping that that will be resolved because it's a two-step process with admissions during the summer where they send it to us and we received it and we have confirmation it was received, but the registrar has to actually flip the switch to make your major change official. So that's kind of where we're at, but I'm hoping that the ticket will be prioritized and we'll get it resolved with plenty of time. But just a heads up, I didn't want you to keep going, Jen, just because it was a
No,
relevant
thank you.
situation.
Special situation.
Yeah.
Another message says previously I tried to sign up for Calc 2, but there were no spots available. Now on CIS, I'm seeing available spots. Does this seem right?
Yeah, so basically what science does specifically is they will let everybody register the first round, and then they kind of do an evaluation to figure out who still needs what. And then they touch base with the math department and they have to get everybody on board. But likely there will be some seats available in certain math and science courses. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that physics will be an option, just a heads up. But there should be seats in Calc 2. Now, in the event that you're not able to self-register for Calc 2 because of credits or whatever the circumstances might be, you would reach out to us for an override. However, we do have to make sure there are seats available in the section you're requesting. But if you're able to register for Calc 2 because you have AP credit for Calc 1 on your transcript, by all means, try to utilize one of those open sections at this point.
We are caught up. Any other questions anybody wants to drop in the chat? You're welcome. That might be it.
If that's it, I will end the recording now. For anyone watching the recording, please just reach out to an advisor if you have any questions. We are here to help you. Thank you.